I'm joined by ENCA Money Desk anchor, that is Rofiwa Madzena, who's been tracking that particular story. So it is a glimmer of hope, is it not? The green shoots that we've been hearing about, but nowhere near what we would like, but a start nonetheless. Just put it in perspective for us. Where did this growth come from?
Some green shoots indeed, Tulas, but we must remember when we're looking at the current GDP numbers, they're coming off a very low base. We come from a pandemic, a hard lockdown where the economy was virtually at a standstill for the whole of last year. So the last quarter of last year we saw an improvement, and we're continuing to see that improvement as the economy opens up again. And the numbers are actually showing us that on an annualized basis, this beat expectations. Economists were thinking we'd see between 2 and 3.1%, and we beat expectations, which means there's actually work that's going on in the economy. And the biggest contributor, which was quite interesting, I suppose, was the mining industry. Let me just unlock my phone and show you there. They contributed over 16% to the GDP growth in the first quarter, and then, of course, finance and trade, another big contributor. What was interesting, though, to see to us is that exports went down significantly.
Right.
So when we're talking about exports here, mineral products, automotive, car parts, and that's largely because we saw economies shutting down their borders during the hard lockdown, so we couldn't transport any of the goods and services that we would on a usual basis, but of course that's starting to improve.
I will ask you about the manufacturing sector in a moment, but just clarify this idea and this concept of annualized basis versus quarter on quarter that we've been talking about, because when you look at the two numbers, the difference is jarring, is it not?
Yes. So when we talk about a quarter-on-quarter basis, the Stats SA is literally just telling us about what happened between January and March of this year in terms of GDP growth. Annualized means had we seen a consistent uptick of growth throughout each of the quarter on an annualized basis, we would have seen that much growth, the 4.6. So the annualized version talks to us about if we've seen constant growth over the 4 quarters, on an annualized basis, growth would have been this much.
I see.
And then the quarterly one is just activity that happened between January and March of 2021.
I see. So is that one a hypothetical number then, the annualized figure? Because I'm asking you because it has confused me in the past.
It's confused all of us in the past, Tulas. I don't know if I would call it hypothetical. I suppose it is some kind of a projection model that they would use. And that would give anyone from an investor to local and global investors, those who participate in the markets, to give an analysis or a projection of the potential that South Africa's economy has.
So mining the big story, Rofiwa, what about manufacturing? When you talk about exports, on the decline, does that translate to a story that's similar in manufacturing and agriculture or not?
Similar in the sense that there are a lot of challenges that the sector has dealt with, the biggest one being Eskom. Despite the hard lockdowns that we did see, manufacturing has been hampered for a while now by the instability of power supply in the country. And then, of course, it was exacerbated by the fact that borders across the world were shut down. Another element here is that it's not being supported in terms of the resources provided to the manufacturing industry, and we're finding that a lot of manufacturers, particularly small to medium, are having to shut down their doors and not contribute to the export market that we have. And then the export market then being buoyed by the mining sector, which has had a really great run with mining commodities, which have been in demand. We're part of a super cycle at the moment, and that's kind of buoyed the export market in that sense.
All right, thank you for that. That is ENCA Money Desk's Rofiwa Madzena.